Let's go, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the LA Poker Roundup. It is April 10th, 2024, and this is episode 32. And I am your host, Ty Dobberton, along with my host, Derek Kwan.
What's up, everyone?
Hey, we are back at you. We've had a really busy week. We can't wait to catch you up on everything that's been going on and what we've been up to. We're going to start, as always, with results from around LA and beyond.
And then we're also going to cover a little bit about a press conference that I was able to attend for the WSOP circuit at the Commerce Casino.
Whew, man. Press con. What do you think you are? Like a newsman? What do you think you are? You think you work for Poker News?
I wore one of those like funny hats with the little piece of paper in it.
Oh man, I needed a picture of that. And then also this week, the Roundup Boys were in the booth. We commentated live at the Commerce, our very first commentating gig. We'll tell you all about that.
Yeah, Nick and Ali need to look out
Oh,
because we ran that show, buddy.
absolutely.
Um, and then we're going to talk a little bit about stables and staking and is it really good for poker or not?
Or even if we don't figure it out, we'll tell you what we think. And then we'll finish as always with the weekly roundup. So let's go. Um, so let's start with some results from the dailies around town, shall we? I tell you what, the last couple of weeks, the dailies down at the Gardens have been absolutely popping off. I tell you what. So this one I believe is from last Wednesday's bounty event. So congratulations here, Iman Vakiki, taking down the bounty event with no chop. No chop on a daily. That's crazy. And he beat a field of 250 basically. So you won $5,300 in a bounty event, a daily bounty event. That's crazy. And if that's not
That
crazy
is
enough,
unbelievable.
yeah,
Wow.
if that's not crazy enough, the Saturday special, which is a 20K guarantee, got 223 entries for a $44,600 total prize pool. That's well over double the guarantee. Well over
What
double.
the heck?
Yeah. And the top five chopped with the chip leader, this man right here, still getting over 8,000 on a daily. This is a $250 buy-in, guys. $250
That's
buy-in,
unbelievable, man.
five-way chop, 8,000. You know how much would that have been with no chop, right? This guy probably would have won. I mean, first prize is probably over 12 grand or something like that. That's crazy. Other notable.
People People love the gardens, man.
I love the gardens, man. Every time there's nothing too thrilling going on at the other casinos, I'm always down there at those dailies. They have such great value. It's a really great place to play. Some other notables who are always playing down there at those dailies as well. You take a look at Mr. Escondiari getting part of that chop. He's having a nice little week there. So congratulations to Mr. Kovacs for the top of it. Craig Leto, Ronald Swain, Mike, Samuel Kaplan. So way to go. Uh, let's head on over to actually, you know what? Let's stay local. Let's jump on over to the bike. The big tournament last week at the bike was the mystery bounty. The mystery bounty we had. Now she didn't take first place in the rankings, but she did take first place, I believe, in the payouts, and that was with the big bounty being pulled by Beth Hall. Beth is we're a huge fan of Beth here on the pod.
Yeah.
This is a monster thing. I mean, she got the big bounty. Now this was a 150K prize pool, so this 25K was almost more than first place on its own. I believe first place on its own was just shy of 30K. So
Yeah. I saw the video too where she didn't no, yeah, there it
dang,
is.
there it is, 25K.
Where she didn't see it
Yeah,
first.
she
She
didn't look.
showed it to the she looked it
I
to
love
the
it.
camera
You
and
gotta have
they're
that
like,
flair.
"You
Yeah, she's a performer
won."
after all. So congratulations.
Yeah. Awesome, Beth.
Congratulations to Beth, and congratulations to Bo Chen. Bo got actual first place in the tournament. So second place, very familiar name, Mr. Paul Wynn. So Paul's having a crazy month at the bike. Man, does
Yeah,
anyone like
it
playing at the
really
bike more
is.
than Paul? I don't know.
Yeah, man, this dude is really having a heck of a just a run right now over the last few months.
Yeah,
And you know
absolutely.
what? Bo Chen, his name is coming up much more frequently, I've noticed. I put in not a ton of hours with this guy, but I played with him. Definitely on the loose, tricky side, very sticky. Actually, this entire final table, I say we're like very sticky players, which as you said, it kind of makes sense for Mystery Bounty. But I feel like Bo Chen's name has been coming up a little bit more frequently.
Yeah, no, for sure. All these guys, it's great to see all these regs getting some of their money back, getting some success, rounding out that table. So Paul got second in the chop. Beth got third, and that's why I believe she won the most money out of this
Wow.
event. Joe
Beth
Lerman,
is just still crushing,
yep,
man. Good job.
Joe Lerman, bike reg, he got fourth place. Fifth place, was another super reg around here, Vanek Azizian. I believe he has a very nice
Yeah.
stack for the mini mega right now. We'll get to that list in a second. And sixth place, Michael Schwartz, another guy who I recognize. Tan Lei in seventh. And Larry, of course, Larry Kwong, eliminated in eighth. So once again, we have two guys who have their banners up on the wall. Final tabling a bike event. I mean, these guys know how to play at the bike. It's crazy. It's like it's just rigged for them there. They're just so
It's
good.
home turf, home turf.
Yeah, definite home field advantage. So speaking of the mini mega, that is what happened after the mystery bounty. So that has been going on all week. They've been running their day ones. Now remember, they changed things and limited the number of double bags you're allowed to get for this event to
Yep.
3 extra double bags, so 4 times qualifying maximum for that maximum payout. Um, but they've been having pretty good turnout so far. So far, 235 people have bagged up. There have been 38 double bags so far. So for those of you counting, like I am, they have paid out about 130,000 from the prize pool so far. Now there are still day ones happening all the way through Friday, so that means 2 more full days of day ones. But at this pace, I'm a little curious if you think that the cap on bags has affected the turnout at all.
I mean, I don't think it should have a dramatic, right? Because we're talking about how many of the double baggers got 4 bags or more, and usually that's a pretty small number of people, right? So all you do was sort of cap those people from doing it. I mean, it's better than nothing, right? So I don't think it should have a dramatic impact.
Yeah, I don't think it's having like a very large impact either. There are 6 people who currently have 2 bags, so there's only 6 people as of this morning who could potentially get to the cap today. So maybe if they do, there'll be 6 people fewer. But until you reach the cap, I don't see it affecting anybody. So it's
Yep.
interesting. It's interesting that they did that. It's kind of like a token, but really, if you looked at the results from the first one, it would have only affected like 2 people. So it's
Right.
an interesting
Yeah,
thing to
I
do.
kind of feel like it's always just going to be a handful of people, and maybe one of them goes crazy and bags 8, but still relative to $1 million or $2 million prize pool, it's pretty small.
Yeah, yep, for sure. I mean, the vast majority of multi-baggers are somewhere between that 2 to 4, anyways.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so now let's leave the LA area for a couple other congratulations. I saw on Twitter that as the WPT cruise wrapped up, Mr. Matt Savage, we had him as a guest recently. Everyone loves Matt. He won one of the events on that WPT cruise. I believe it was the '08 event. So, congratulations. First
Good for
cruise.
him. He
Gets
deserves
himself,
it. He
yeah,
deserves it. Yeah.
absolutely. Gets himself a trophy. And then, even more impressively, Mr. Jesse Lonis, name we've said a couple times here now, he apparently destroyed this final table in the Poker Go. What was
PGT.
this series?
PGT. Yeah.
The
The Poker
Poker Go
Go
Tour.
Tour. PGT. Yeah.
Second in
I
the
actually
second event.
watched. I actually watched the whole final table today. While I was like doing some stuff.
Is the
And this guy, I really do feel like he is one of the top, if not the top, field player right now. Like his instincts are just unbelievable. Always senses weakness and just attacks it. And he is just, and he's not like spewy. So it's just he's a scary player, man.
Did you watch to the final hand here?
I did
He seriously finishes this thing with a straight flush.
with a straight flush. Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
kidding
and he
me?
kinda
How
laughed at
good? He's laughing. It's like, how good do you run? Someone jams on you
Yeah.
when you have a straight flush. The guy's got the
And
queen
he-
of
I mean-
diamonds. Yeah, he's got top pair or second pair with a queen high, quote unquote, straight flush draw. I mean, what the
Yeah.
heck?
In a heads up situation, it's never a hand that you're getting away from, especially against a player like Jesse. But yeah, he definitely ran like pretty good at this final table, but just overall, when you look at all the hands that he played, you can definitely see the skill in this guy.
Yeah, that is absolutely savage. That is absolutely that's insane. And this guy, he's been crushing it for years now. I think for like maybe the last 2 years, he's just been on absolute fire, more or less, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they kept talking about that on the stream about how like insanely good he's been playing and running. Yeah,
Yeah.
having unbelievable results.
I'm glad that this hot streak. Actually, you know what? This hot streak kind of did start before the only one and only time I played with him, and I survived the table, and the table broke. You were there. I think that's yeah. So he was there. It was after he got a win down in Caribbean for something, if I recall. So we managed to avoid his wrath a little bit, but wow, this guy's just on fire. So
I
congratulations.
strangely, I strangely played a lot of tournaments with
Oh
him.
yeah.
Yeah, it's odd because it almost just feels like I don't play that many in Vegas, but then the handful that I do, I feel like he's always like at my table somehow. And then like the one time he comes here, he was at my table or our table, so it's just
Ah,
that strange.
that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I'm slowly getting more Vegas tournaments under my belt as the days go on here. Like, I used to live on the East Coast, so I didn't come up to Vegas very often. In fact, I only went to Vegas once while I lived on the East Coast, and then now that I've been out here, a lot of my trips were not to play poker, but now they've started to get a little more, a little more. Went to the World Series last year. I've gone up to a couple win events now. I actually, so the reason I wasn't able, well, one of the reasons I wasn't able to get to that press conference is because I actually had a work trip
Yeah.
unrelated to poker that I had a meeting in Vegas for. So I was actually up there and I fired one. I managed to find time to fire one bullet into one of the nightly Turbo Win Signature Series tournaments. And being a turbo, I talked myself into a bad call and lost most of my chips pretty quickly. But luckily the cash games are good there. So um, so before we get to that, as long as we're talking about how great, congratulating Matt and all that, I saw another little post that Matt put up this week, and I had to comment back. Somebody had somebody had put out a post and tagged him talking about reentries, and people like Norman Chad and people in general just love talk about reentries, as he's mentioned on the podcast when he was here talking with us. He kind of invented them at Commerce, so he often gets a lot of flack or a lot of the discussion. And he had posted up that, or rather, this other person had posted up like, "Hey, Matt, I love using sports analogies, and since you get 3 strikes in baseball before you're out, what if re-entries were limited to 3? Wouldn't that be a good number?" So then Matt commented back that, hey, well, it's actually more like, what about like a foul tip when you're batting, and then you get to swing and hit as many times as you want, then that's like rebuying as much as you want. And then in the comments to that, there were basically just there are probably at least 5 comments back talking, well, that's a bad analogy because this. Well, that analogy doesn't work. This.
But
And I mean, it just made me just face palm immediately. I'm like, my God. So I replied to him. I said like, I said, God, I'm absolutely befuddled by how much these guys missed the point. I mean, all he was doing was trying to make a bad analogy after a bad analogy because this guy
right.
picked a random number from a random thing and decided that would be a good number for poker because they have so much. There's absolutely nothing that correlates strikes and rebuys. There's nothing. They have nothing in common other than that's a number. So I'm just like, this is just absolutely silly how people are. And Terrence Chan, I believe he's one of Negroni's friends who does their podcast. He chimed in too. He said as well he got stupider just by reading that thread. So I mean I appreciate Matt. Matt retweeted me, gave me a little high five, said, "Yes, you get it. I don't understand these other people either. Let's go." So don't get me started. I could talk about how much my brain exploded when I was reading those comments for
Yeah,
a
that is
while.
pretty silly.
Well,
Silly logic. It's
yeah,
a silly logic fail, but definitely the reentry topic is an interesting one to talk about, which we will. And think about, in chat, like what do you think about reentries, right? Do you think they're good or bad for poker? Are
yeah,
they good or bad for recreational players?
yeah. But in the meantime, let's talk about something a little more
mentioned
fun.
just
Let's
prior
talk
to
about
us
your trip
getting
here. You put up a video here.
Yeah, it was a nice little story. Number one, it was really cool just getting an invite directly from people at the Commerce to come to this press conference, right? Me and Ty are super grateful for the invite because, it feels like we are getting accepted, right, as sort of, maybe official representatives of the poker tournament community around Los Angeles. So yeah, it was really nice to go and attend. And they also set up a meeting with me and Ty Stewart and Jack Effel, which is crazy, right? Like the 2 big executives at the WSOP,
Yeah,
and just like had
so
a chat
bummed I
with me.
missed it.
Yeah, and we had a really good chat about just like growth and our concerns. I echoed the same concerns we've been talking about LA, and they offered like their own opinions about stuff. They're talking all the stuff about like WSOPC, how they kind of think about like growth themselves. How they think about how they do things differently than the WPT and other places, and how they focus so much on players. It was really an amazing discussion with
Well,
two obviously very smart like veterans of the poker industry.
well, spill the beans, man. I wasn't there. I want to hear some of these details. What were some of the takeaways from what they said? What were some of the things that really stuck with you?
So interestingly, Jack Effel really felt like the decline in LA poker was a supply problem. And he actually, and I think it was, I forget if it was you or somebody else that kind of mentioned this before, that, we think that actually a big impact of why poker's been going down in LA is because it's been going up in other places and other people have options. They kind of don't want to travel. Maybe some people are even going over there. And I was like, yeah, that's definitely a contributor. But then I also said that's a little bit of like a lagging indicator to the fact that right now, we have so many players within LA that are just kind of not playing, right? So we have we feel like a bunch of 9 to 5ers that are just dormant, right? They're not really playing. And if we just tap into 10% of those people, we could maybe double or triple our prize pools, right? Double or triple our fields. And in that case, people will come, right? It's not a supply problem. I just feel like here, we're just not attracting enough players. And they were like super agreeing with that, right? They're like, yeah, that's also true. Um,
Yeah, I agree. I think poker is
also,
more of a if you build it, they will come industry than any,
right.
right? If we can excite our local market enough to build the guarantees to an exciting level, then the supply problem becomes everyone else's problem, right?
And they also felt like the weekend scheduling was just an obvious thing. I'm not really sure why we're even kind of discussing why people are throwing day twos and day threes in the middle of the week. But then they also like mentioned some stuff too, where I was like, hey, it's getting so bad here that me and Ty, our Ty, um, can't imagine Phil Hellmuth walking through the doors of an LAPC event, and then they're like, well, WSOP, you could be seeing players like Daniel Negreanu coming here because we are running a tournament of champions, right? It actually also seems like it was confirmed that Daniel Weinman, right, that he was also there, the WSOP main event winner, was gonna like stick around and play a couple of events too. So it was amazing just being like in a really small like space, like meeting these guys and talking with them. So it was an unbelievable experience. Thank you to not only to the conference for the invite, but really I mean, I don't know how you feel about this side, but I do really feel like at least we're pointing in the right direction now, right? There was a lot of excitement in that room, and it feels like there's a lot of excitement at the Commerce overall for everything right now.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love seeing the effort and, more importantly, the resources being devoted to it. And I really hope that the
Yeah,
LA community
yeah,
comes out to support and people from around support. Like you said, Negreanu is going to show up. That's going to be awesome. Not only that, I saw on Twitter, Mr. Faraz Jaka, he has
yeah.
he has said he's already. Oh, this is the wrong tweet, but let me bring this up. He has said he is coming. He booked his hotel already and his flights. He's bringing the whole family. He's going to take him to Disneyland after. So when he wins the Tournament of Champions, he can give that cliche line. Uh, but yeah, he'll be here. So I have to hope and imagine other pros will be here, right? And the more press and the more big names get out that they will be here and that we're having a great time and that the fields are great, that the more, like I said, if you build it, they will come, and that people will start to get more
Yeah,
excited about coming here. Um,
right.
I also have
And
to do
it
one
was
more. I have to do one more, like, what the heck for Rampage, right? So just one more time to go back to his complaint about Rampage and boycotting it. The last video I watched with him playing at Commerce, he made a comment that maybe I'll move to LA. What? I don't understand this kid. What is this? All right. Anyways,
I
moving on.
think I think somebody had also said that he actually has like a place here or something.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
not
already
sure
got a
like where
place
his
here.
like
Psh.
yeah, like a permanent
Yeah.
residence. And
So
I
what's his
think
angle here?
somebody also joked around there like, hey, who sponsors, Rampage, and actually it's WPT. So it was this really kind of an interesting,
Yeah.
fun kind of
I don't
conversation with
know.
these guys. But the other point too, like when we talk about how the excitement, right? So I know that you're also gonna be heading over to the Commerce to grind the cash
All
games,
right.
try to get the Commerce Pro thing.
Absolutely.
You know, I finally got to meet Amanda in person. It was awesome, to finally meet Amanda. And she was kind of saying like, like overall, when you multiply like the package by number of players, right? The number is like around like 600K
Yeah.
or something, but she's like probably the overall value is over 700K when you include like all these other kind of like benefits. So I'm like, oh, it's 100% right. And it's crazy. Like, we have to kind of give flowers, right? Because we do a lot of complaining here, and it's always constructive criticism. I hope that the card rooms don't see us as just kind of like whining, but we are mostly just a mouthpiece, right, for the rest of the poker community. But it really does look like Commerce is doing a lot of the right things, so we're super excited about where things are going.
What other value was she talking about? Let's try and convince more people to go down and play.
Um,
Anything concrete?
you know what? I think she kind of mentioned it to me, and I kind of like forgot off the top of my head.
Oh, because you weren't gonna go grind the cash game, so it went right out. You were.
Right. I
This
was
is
just
why
like,
I
oh yeah,
needed to
that
be
that
there, guys.
I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But like, it's more value, right? So what I got out of what she said was that there's like more value there than actually, what's sort of the published, price or cost of it. So definitely big giveaway to the poker community. Again, like I kind of wish there was a little bit more for just a sole tournament grinder like myself who never plays cash games, but overall this is fantastic for poker, right? The Commerce like cash game room is just packed to the gills like every single day, every single night. And we're gonna drive, like a ton of people to go play these tournaments.
Yeah, and this man right here was the first one to get to 100 hours, and he did it in 9 days. Isn't that
That's
that's crazy?
unbelievable.
That's
Did
averaging
they
over
act-
10 hours a day.
so did they actually identify the person who?
It's this guy.
Oh, that guy.
It's that guy.
Oh,
I don't know who he is. I'm going to play, but I'm not getting everyone's names. It's tough enough to remember all the tournament players' names, but this guy
I
got
wonder
to
if he's a
100
mixed game player or
hours.
something.
I mean, to put that
Yeah.
many hours in a day, you've got to be kind of a low stakes mixed game player, limit player, right? Like that's just I don't know. It's insane
Oh,
to
this is gonna
think
be
that
another
hard.
one of them. It's like another one of the mixed game awards, like the LAPC
Yeah, but see, they got it. We
series.
got to make them all. We make them all play hold'em at the end and to earn it though.
Yeah,
And
this is
here's the other
true.
thing,
This is
right?
true.
So they ran this. They're running this other contest, right? Guess the exact number to win a prize. DJ says everyone's guesses are low,
Man,
and
DJ is really good at nailing those because remember when
yeah,
he predicted the 1K, the 1200 is going to be like 1.7. It was just
well,
like a hair under.
I should have asked him before I made a guess because I just threw a number out, and then I saw his tweet, and I'm like, damn. So I threw out 467. This when I saw his, people were already guessing, somewhere. The guesses were like between like 200 and 600 when I looked. Now numbers are just coming out kind of randomly, so who knows? But yeah, imagine like I mean, if well over 1,000 people qualify for this thing, half of them
A
come out.
thousand, a thousand people at 100
What if
hours.
they
I don't
did?
believe it.
If they did, they should
That's
run a
just
promo like this every freaking month. How much money is that, right? That's
And
right.
like obviously there's so much excitement going on right now, but like as you and I mentioned before, like it has to stick, right? So the
Yeah.
commerce has to be doing things to make sure that it's not a one-time
Yep.
thing where we just see this humongous spike of like people playing promos and playing the World Series poker circuit. And then so I'm kind of hoping like, let's just say that the graph was kind of going like this for cash game players and now it's up like this high, that it doesn't drop more than half, right? That you're sort of retaining a lot of those
Yep.
players to keep playing.
No, absolutely.
As so definitely going to be looking out for that because this is how you grow the game of poker. It's like constantly trying to hit a higher watermark and then retain more people, and that hits a higher watermark, and all of a sudden, we're off to the races.
Yeah, I mean, I love to see the room so full, and I love that they're doing this promo, and it's looking like it's working really well, right? But I do have some concerns just to what you're talking about because I have been in there playing a bit. I know a lot of people who are going in there and who don't usually go in there and are playing a bit, and there are some very
Yeah.
valid concerns, right? I mean, that room they replaced some of the tables a while back to put for the for the regular stakes cash game. They replaced some of the tables with table games, so it's a little bit smaller there. And some of the complaints that we've had forever about that commerce room are still there, right? Like I think that the tables are a little more cramped than most other poker rooms in LA, so they still
It's
are.
very cramped.
That's not a
Yeah.
good thing, At they were even given this promo, the times I've played, I've noticed they've been understaffed. One of the times I was sitting there, our dealer was stuck in the box for like 3 downs, and she was getting, pretty agitated because the other problem is a lot of those players playing that do play there a lot all day long. They're a little bit grumpy and a little bit rude to the dealers, which creates a poor environment. So
Yeah.
these are things you need to find ways around. We need to spread the tables out. You need to make sure you staff up and have well-trained staff. Right after her was a brand new dealer, and we were literally helping him take the rake. We're like, bro, we don't want you to get fired. You need to take the rake. No, you need to take this much. All right, you need to change this one. All right.
Wow.
So like,
Yeah.
it's great that people are coming in there, but if you have the wrong table with these experiences, you're not going to keep them once this is over. So I love that they're getting the spike. I hope that they get to keep some of it and they can make some adjustments to make it really the best poker room in LA again, right? Because
Yeah.
we all kind of said we thought it was a bit on the decline because it felt like they hadn't had a lot of renovation in a long time. They felt like they had
Yeah.
let other places get ahead. Like other places, like the Lucky Lady, it's a very small card room, and they're trying to do things to differentiate themselves for those small stakes to really make people want to play there. Like the default size of their games is 8-handed, right? They're giving out
Oh, that's
free
nice.
food to players. they're comping
That's nice.
food for players, right? They're doing a lot of stuff like that. And maybe it's
Yeah.
harder to do at the scale, but you can do some of this stuff. You can, if you were going to move those tables out and put table games in, you could have spread the tables out a little more, right? Even that would have been a
Yeah.
huge difference to the feel. So I really hope they do. They should put some surveys out while the room's packed, right? What would you like to see there?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
So you definitely need to get some feedback from the players because number one, while this, feels a little bit like a nice problem to have, right? All of a sudden you have too much business and
Hmm.
you kind of almost can't handle it operationally. Um, right now, not like any obviously like specific individual's fault working in any of these card rooms, but overall, it's a pretty negative sentiment from the poker community, and it feels like this is your opportunity to win them back.
Right.
So we kind of got to get it right, right? We
Yeah.
kind of have to get it right. I still like maybe hopefully the complaints, because I am not playing those cash games at all. Hopefully the complaints are a very small fraction of the overall experience, but definitely hoping people at the Commerce who are listening to this are listening to that feedback. You know what? Reach out to Ty, reach out to some of your cash game regs and ask them, right? Talk to them. And if you kind of don't know who, just ask me and Ty. We can go and get it for you, and then we'll just tweet it to you, right? Just let us know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Because we all want to see everyone have the best experience possible, right? Absolutely.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
Yeah, so getting back to the World Series of Poker coming to Commerce, and and another thing you had said, I just want to point out, I think it's really awesome that we are getting invited to stuff like this because I think it really shows
Yeah.
that people see the value in us getting the news out to folks. So, all you out there listening, remember, please, hey, like, subscribe, share us. We are getting the news, right? We told you the Tournament of Champions was coming to Commerce. Maybe five of you already knew that, but we told you months before it was announced. For the five of you who didn't know that, like Jesse, I'm sure you already knew. But we told you that the circuit was coming. We told you we get the scoop on when tournament series are coming before they're announced, and we're getting invited to these press conferences. So we are, we're here to help the LA community, and we're being, people are finding out about that, and they're trusting us. So I love that. I absolutely love that. So with the circuit coming, I wanted to talk a little bit more. Faraz also put out his thoughts on the World Series schedule. And since you were just talking with those guys, maybe they had some thoughts on the schedule as well. Maybe that's something you talked about. So, let's take a look here and see what was going on. So here we go. Here's Faraz's post. He's talking about, I went through the schedule. Here's some things I think were good and bad about it. So the good changes, he thought the 5K Champions reunion as the opening event was pretty nice. He's called it a mid-sized buy-in, which, debatable, but I think it's close enough with a fun
I
element.
think for the World Series, I guess that is correct. But yeah, sure.
It's mid. I feel like 3K is 2 to 3K is mid.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Yeah, maybe that's mid.
Anyways, 5K seniors, no brainer with the mid. I agree there. 5K seniors huge. Is there?
You know,
there's a 10K or no? There is, right?
I don't think I realized like how big these seniors events were. But then I think we heard from somebody a couple weeks ago about how there's like 2 for every circuit event, which is like kind of crazy. I didn't know that. So yeah, I didn't realize like how big these events were.
Yeah, honestly, it's almost to the point where they need to have like a youngins tournament instead of a seniors tournament. Like
right?
Seniors,
yeah, the young guns.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. The moneymaker boom was 2003, right? I mean, that was 20 years ago.
That's
so
true.
anybody who started playing poker from that who was 30, they're all all seniors.
That's me.
That's
That's
lot.
me. I'll go. I'm gonna hit 50. Yeah.
Shoot, you gave away the secret. You know how much free money you just lost by you won't be able to prop bet people. I make so much money prop betting people at tables about my age. You don't even know.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, you just gave up a lot of EV, bro. The other things he thinks are good, the 3K mid-stakes championship. See, that's a mid-stakes. He thought it was cool to have something that's kind of like a main event for that stake. Awesome, I agree. And the 1500 shootout is now 2 flights, so now you can try twice. So that's pretty cool as well because shootouts are unique.
I love the shootouts. I just feel like I can't ever get out there for them. But I made like day 2 on one of them, and it was like the thrill of my life. It was like one of the most meaningful like day 2s I made. And then I also actually got to play with Patrick Leonard on day 2, which was a thrill too, having him on my right, just kind of observing him, watching him, talking to him. So yeah, really good experience.
Well, yeah, it was nice having him on your right and not your left.
Right. No, you know what? I had like lunatics on my left though, and it was like actually me, Patrick, and one of the regs from LA were like playing like the nittiest at the table, just letting everyone just like go crazy, like knocking each other out.
6 crazy people.
Yeah, and then we ended up being the final 3, and then I didn't make it. Was Kevin Song. That was the other guy. So Kevin Song actually advanced. He beat Patrick heads up after Patrick kind of bad me out of the tournament, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've definitely had a few of those experiences as well. They're super valuable to learn from. It's incredible. So some of the bad changes that he lists in his post here were that the 5K 30-minute level event, which is, I mean, for a 5K, that's basically a turbo, right? That is gone, and he personally, he liked that, and he says, remember, this is coming as the opinion of someone who plays things that are like from 1500 to 25K, so that something with a fast structure to try and get one quick kind of bigger thing at the end. He liked that. And then the other one that I think is more interesting to us is that he says the 1500 monster stack is now re-entry in 3 flights. And he always felt like that was a lot of people's main event. Now, to his point, I would say, well, you mentioned there's a 3K mid-stakes championship. That's kind of main eventing now. But he thinks that it should be a freeze out, and he thinks that it would differentiate it from the Millie Maker the next week a lot more if you were not allowed to re-enter. So I have to agree with him there, and I want to add to his list that I hate that they added a day one to all these events to put an extra day one on Sunday. So not only Faraz, I think Faraz just missed that Monster Stack was already re-entry, but only twice because there were 2 days. So now they've added a day one on Sunday, making day two Monday, which is just I complained about this the other day, but that means now you can buy in 3 times though. So he still has a valid point there. Like buying in 3 times is 50% more buy-ins. That's a lot more buy-ins, right?
Right. It is. It is.
So that's
and I really do wonder, how it's interesting because I think you made this point before, like having that extra day may cause some recreational players to not play, and that extra day is probably just going to give a lot of the pros and the more full-time players like extra bullets to go after it. So it is going to be an interesting impact, but overall, obviously, the number is going to go up. It'll be really interesting to see how big those get because typically each of those is $1 million for first place, regardless, right? So really interested to see where the first place goes.
Yeah, last year they were both over $1 million for first place, and I totally agree with them that looking at the 2 tournaments, there's very little that differentiates them anymore. I mean, the size of the stack isn't massively different, I guess. Well, in any event, they're just very similar feeling events now. And I think that personally, I think I mentioned this before, but I personally think that adding that Sunday might be a little short-sighted. I don't know what else they could have done on their schedule to, make up what they must perceive as getting extra revenue here. But with the extra day ones and the I'm sure it's not a massive percentage, but even if it's 10, 15% of people that drive up from LA, because we're very close, we're still a lot of people, or from other closer areas, right? Even if, just using myself as an example, instead of playing maybe 4 events where I would buy into the day ones, because if I make day 3, I can take off. Now I don't play them all. Now I play half as many, right? So that means half as many of those fields don't get as many rec players. Maybe it's 10% fewer rec players, and they're more concentrated in the other spots. But that means that the fields overall become a little lower percentage of recs, and the entries overall become even more heavily concentrated with the pros, like you said, because that extra day of entries benefits the people with the most money or the most backing, which we'll talk about later, and they get the most shots at it, right? So that will make the day 2s and 3s denser with pros because they have more shots to buy in and more chances, which is also not that friendly to the Rex potentially, right? So
it also makes me I'm probably completely unable to play the Millie Maker because they're back-to-back weekends, and now like the Monster Stack is probably going to go all the way to like Thursday, right? So that just means I'm literally having to take 2 weeks off just to play those tournaments, and then also have to come back out for the main. So it's probably just going to be the Monster Stack this year in the main.
Exactly. So it affects you too, right? You were planning on going for both, and now you can't. And it's the exact same type of thing that I was planning on. Like we plan and we're carefully kind of allocating our vacation, right? So we can get up there and play the events we want. And then to do that on a day like that, it just hurts, right? It's not going to hurt the entries because, it won't hurt the overall entries because, well, unless I bag on the first day, but like if I put all 3 bullets in, they're going to get probably the same number of bullets out of me that they would have if I came 2 different weekends. But that means that me, a non full-time pro doesn't play as many events, and same for you. You don't play as many events, So I just feel like that's not as good.
Really hoping I just get through on day 1, get the next 2 days off, right, and just kind of hang out and sit by the pool. It's too hot for the pool, but just do something else.
That's right. You would take the day off. See, if I bag on day 1, I'm gonna go over and see what's happening at the Wynn or the Venetian.
Yeah,
I'll be grinding. Because apparently I'm still a spring chicken. So, um, oh yeah,
Yeah, so we
Randy,
got
that's a great idea. We need to think of something for the series. We have some hats, we have some hats, that and we have. I'm trying to find. Yeah, I've got a couple hats that we can use for something like that, and we have one or two patches still. So we definitely should think of something. Maybe we could do like a last longer or something. This sounds like an idea. I could do a last longer, right? And we pass the hat around to the people that to our listeners, and whoever lasts the longest keeps it, or something like that. Maybe something like that. But hit us with your ideas. We definitely want to come up with some promo stuff and
Yeah,
get the word out.
Jesse's even talking about maybe running a mega, and maybe like the Bike of the Commerce might let us like run a LA Poker Roundup, like tournament in
Yeah,
between, like the series, or maybe even Gardens, right? Like maybe
yeah.
Kevin would be down for something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll have to definitely think about that. And if you guys are listening, I know Kevin listens to us every week. If that's something you think we could do, we'll have to talk about it. He probably wouldn't want us to run a mega to the circuit main if we did it there, but I'm sure they've got something in the works coming up. So we'll have to definitely
Yeah.
think about that. And what else we have to think about, Derek? Well, you know what? I'm gonna wait until we get to the show when we talked about it. But we have another side action thing that we need to be thinking about as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because we'll talk about
Yep.
that in a minute.
And so let's start from the beginning. So the other big thing we had this week was our very first time commentating on Live at the Commerce. I hope all of you were able to tune in, or that you've had a chance to go back and watch some of what we watch what we were broadcasting. It was a really, really exciting game. I was really happy to have gotten that particular game. It was super exciting, really great play. It wasn't a lot of just kind of like trashy gambly play, but it was a lot of exciting action. It was so fun.
Yeah, it was pretty high level play, ton of action, pretty loose players. But then other than just the game being really good, I actually had a lot of fun like commentating with you, and there was a lot of like jokes, and we were interacting with people in chat and talking about like chia pudding and stuff, right? And it was just like scotch and cigars. So it was really just like a fun like hangout. So yeah, if you didn't get a chance to catch us live, definitely go back and give it a watch and let us know what you think. And thank you, Bueller, for saying that we did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of felt it felt, I don't know about you, but I think maybe there was a little bit of butterflies right in the beginning, but as soon as we just started getting into it, we're talking about poker, it felt really natural.
Yeah, no, I had a blast. I had a super fun time. The only downside for us is that our schedules really make it hard to do that sort of thing. But hopefully we'll find some more time. And I went back. My wife does know both what overnight oats and chia pudding are, and she let me know. I think that the chia pudding is actually made out of chia seeds, like that same thing. I was like chia pet, like I think it might be made out of those
No.
seeds because it's made out of chia seeds, right? So why else would they call
So
it a chia
someone
pet?
figured out, so someone figured out that you can eat them.
Yeah,
But
like
I like chia pudding. Yeah,
because why else would you call it a chia pet though if that wasn't a chia plant that you're spreading all over it, right?
sure.
I didn't look it up, but like it makes sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Bueller, we love
Yeah,
it.
and
We love
then
it. Thank you so much. I know
yeah.
he already said thanks, but I'm just looking at the chat now.
Yeah, and Ty was telling us about eating like goat cheese flan or something the
Yeah.
night before. So we were all over the place with the talk, but it was so fun. It was such a good time.
Yeah, and just to get a sense, this was one of the more wild hands of the night, but just to get a sense of some of the action from the night, let's watch this hand here. We'll
Yeah,
give
yeah.
you a preview.
But that's the point. Like, you're going to be in this free roll with a bunch of.
How do you,
Jared, they're running 100 tables a day.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's going to be more.
It's going to be like 500 players.
That would be wild, yeah.
You have to win that? Like only 1%
Top
get
20.
that?
No, top 20.
20. Yeah.
I don't think I'll get in enough hours to qualify, honestly, but especially if I go to Florida, which I think I'm going to do.
I've embarrassed them.
You got to put a lot of hours in.
Really?
And picking up the action here, Big Rookie has top pair with a straight draw with King 10 against fourth pair here of Jew with pocket
does
six.
this count?
Got to ask the floor. I asked them, and they said they would take my card later and put it on there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What, for this, you mean?
Oh, and Jew somehow makes it to the river and hits
Yeah,
the
he's gonna
six
do it.
on the river.
So just ask me if you want to. But like,
Yeah, this probably won't be a
commitment, like,
massive pot, but
if you get
it's definitely
150
gonna lose
hours,
something.
you get way more chips.
Big Rookie's just hitting a lot of unfortunate rivers right now.
Cash
Only
game hours.
cash.
Yeah, no way he's gonna fold this hand either.
You get more chips in the tournament? What,
If you have more hours, 200 hours, you get a big chunk. 150, you get like a pretty good amount, and then 100, you get less.
I think Jazz Brown might be doing it.
Who?
You know Jason Brown?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna play cash,
Should put in a pretty big over bet here. He's very good at sensing the situation here.
Especially if you're good at because most of the people in the
He knows that big rookie's a big hand, and it's probably going to pay off when he does.
I'm sure.
Bad news. Oh, he's just like, oh, you have an underpair, and he realizes he rivered a set. Brutal.
Another terrible river for big rookie. You got to feel for him.
Yeah, so actually, I was letting Jared do most of my job for a lot of that hand. As you heard, he was explaining the promo to the table. Another cool thing about that table for us was that we had two of our really high-level tournament regs on the table with Matt Salzberg and Jared, and they were just they were playing really well. But the third real tournament crusher who was on the table was really just running the night. He was just running good, playing great. He was in a good position at the table, and that was Paul Heiser, the 2022 Colossus winner, and he was just he was putting on a clinic in loose aggressive play. It was fantastic to watch.
He really was. Yeah, he was just unbelievable with the wide range of hands he was playing and just keeping people like kind of off balance with what he was doing. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yep. So definitely thank you to Wayne, and thank you to the Bally crew, and thank you to the Live at Commerce guys, everyone for giving us that chance. Hopefully we'll be able to go in there again. I mean, yeah, no, I had a great time, Derek. Is this something that you had been considering doing before we got the chance, or was it just something that that popped up and you just were like, hey, let's do it? Because we didn't really talk about much before the opportunity came up. Like, I'd been kind of talking with Wayne about deciding if maybe I wanted to play on the stream, and then I'm like, oh, and by the way, like I noticed you using a lot of commentators, right? Like, we wouldn't mind coming on. He's like, oh yeah, what about this day? And then I kind of just told you we could go on if we want.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't really think to even ask. Yeah, I get. I never really thought about commentating at all, but it felt supernatural to me. It was actually like good, I guess, having you as my partner there to just made me feel like a lot more comfortable, and we know each other. Had a good conversation right throughout the whole thing. But yeah, it was not something I thought about before.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely a cheat code for us to be talking like this every week already, and then to just do it again with some cards in the air, right? But
yeah,
I'm okay with cheating in situations like this. It's not like it's real poker.
Yeah.
So no, I had a blast.
Yeah, I kind of also just feel, I think they're probably bringing in some big guns, right, to do the tournament like final table streams. But yeah, me and Ty get an opportunity to go in there, especially if they were going to do like something like a night shift, right, like Ali and Nick do. We would be happy to do that as well.
Yeah, no, I think you're correct. So what we learned was they're going to stream for sure at least 3 events: the Tournament Champions, the main event, and I think the Mystery Bounty event. They may stream others, but those are for sure. And GG is going to go like all out. They're going to stream not just the final tables, but they're going to stream action before that, which sort of is backed up by if what you heard that people like Negreanu and some other pros might be coming out, that could make a lot of sense if they stream like the main event much earlier. If they can have a feature table with Negreanu on it right from day one, why wouldn't they, right? If they could have a feature table with with some big pros on it right from day 1 to day 2, why wouldn't they stream more days? And they just have to kind of hope that those guys don't get knocked out until near the end, so they can keep having their star power. But and Maria was on the show. She said she was going to play some select events, so she'll probably be in that main event, right? Thank you,
MWG. Yeah, MWG for the like. I feel like we don't need to tell you guys, right, to come out and play the circuit events because everyone is so excited that the circuit events are coming. But definitely come out, make sure, firing a couple of satellite to the main event. That's going to be an unbelievable event. Ton of people are going to be out there. It's going to be a big prize pool and a good opportunity, as we mentioned before, for satellite players. You can get in there for a much smaller amount, which makes your potential ROI humongous. And on top of the fact that you get to play with like a sort of a different class of players, right, with those bigger buy-ins, and don't get intimidated. You can learn a ton from them, right, and just sort of play good, solid, fundamental poker, and you can mostly just grind your way through and learn a lot along the way. So definitely just get out there for this series and show the Commerce and WSOP some support.
Yeah, and it, like I said, it sounds like there's a good chance he'll get to play with some of the stars of the space. So for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of Maria playing more around LA, it looks like Wayne's got her locked in to play tomorrow at 3 p.m. So it looks like Maria will be playing live at the Commerce tomorrow with another tournament reg, Turbo. We see him in the tournament streets all the time. And it looks
Yeah.
like he's switching over to being live at the Commerce Reg because he's playing in there today. He was playing in there today. And
Oh, was he?
yeah, he
Nice.
was in there the first week, I think. I think he usually plays with Barry Woods, right? But I think he
Yeah,
was
they're
definitely in there
friends.
today.
Yeah.
Yep. So tune in, catch Maria tomorrow. We have the link to Bally Live Poker in the description. In case you're not subbed there, make sure sub to us, sub to them, hit that like button, and check them out, and let them know if you really want us back in the booth. Kind of let them know, egg them on,
Yep.
get them to try and get them to beg us to come back, right?
Yeah, 100% if you like what we did, give them some feedback about how much you guys liked us if you did.
All right. So the last kind of big thinker topic, right? The last big picture topic we have on the schedule for today is stables and staking. And the reason we bring this up is because last week there was this big story coming out online, and this is mostly all from the context of online poker, right? But I'd like to swing it around and talk a little bit about live later because that's really all I care about, and that's what I think most of you are here listening for because, well, we never talk about online. But big story on the online poker players. I guess the Russian version of GG Poker put out a post last week saying that they are going to start banning all the stables that they can find, all the big stables, all the stables that advertise, et cetera, et cetera. And Biryuzi, I don't know his real name. I'm sure I should.
Yeah, he's a high stakes guy.
Yep. He was unhappy. He says that this is a bad idea. This is going to injure and damage the poker economy. It's the stables, almost most of them don't cheat. If you find cheaters, ban them, but most stables don't cheat. This is just bad for everyone.
I'm really when I first saw that, I forgot even who posted it. I was like, "What's the context for this?" This was mind blowing to me. I couldn't believe that a poker site would do this.
Yeah, and then Patrick Leonard broke his Twitter hiatus in order to post and respond to this. So I don't know if the timing was perfect or if he was just that if he was just that drawn to do so. But he posted back, and he had quite a few thoughts, right? And when Patrick Leonard talks about online poker, well, we all listen. So he talked about the statement, right? And he had some good points, of course. And like I said, I don't play a lot of online poker, so I need to, got to go with this guy. I
But
think
definitely just, I mean, like the points that he's making about staking are also applicable to live, right? I think his statements can be super generalized to just, anywhere, right? Because a lot of the same issues that goes with staking happens live as well as online. Obviously, online's a little bit easier to cheat because you're sitting there behind a screen, but still, you get very similar types of like kind of scandalous sort of stuff happening, right? But obviously stables are important for the lifeblood of poker. A lot of buy-ins come from people getting staked, right? And it's not just always just pros, but many people kind of get staked into tournaments all the time. So you could see a dramatic reduction, right, in attendance if stables were banned. But obviously stables still sometimes like cause problems.
yeah, it's kind of interesting, and it's kind of like for me personally. I totally see the one point that they're making that these stables put so many entries in the tournament, and one of the big ones that Patrick makes is that since kind of the online poker economy is, tournament poker anyway, economy is really focused on like smallish buy-in, massive fields with huge rake where you can just bink a massive, huge windfall, right? First place is absurd, but the field is like 12,000 players every time, right? Like that's kind of like what online poker sells to tournament players. He's saying that without stables putting in all those buy-ins, they would never be able to do that. They'd never hit the numbers, and that all of that excitement, all that money, you just couldn't do it, and individual players just can't do it because they would go broke, right? Now, that's where I start to kind of have a little pushback, or that's where I start to kind of wonder, like, well, so I'm very much a when I hear about the staking and the stables and when I hear about all these stories about people being stuck in makeup and all of the shady accounting and whatnot, it just kind of makes me think of like kind of bad finance deals and people making risks, like selling stocks short and hedging with money and leveraging
really bad,
money they
man.
don't have, right? Like, why are
And
we
people are
allowing
getting
this?
like like $1 million into makeup. I think Patrick said that, right? And obviously the whole kind of situation with Dwan and everything, right? It just people get really buried in makeup, and then all of a sudden it's just, just getting into so much trouble with people. Super sketchy, right? But again, there's like I think with everything, there's always some bad and some good, right? So there's definitely good, right? Staking deals where people are just doing pretty well, making their backers happy, staying in action, making some money without while reducing their risk. Also providing attendance to player pools like liquidity, all that good stuff, right? But then all the negatives of like chip dumping and stuff like that, and especially like ghosting and stuff online, are always concerns. So always, even I think me and Ty mentioned this before, the bigger casinos, right? When you're in Vegas playing at the Wynn or Venetian, right, or even like WSOP, or even here at the Bike and the Commerce, typically we're playing in safe environments. There's a lot of safeguards, and you also have a lot of like floor staff and like dealers kind of looking out for you. So definitely reduces your risk of bad stuff happening, but always keep your head on the swivel.
Yeah, and to to the original poster's point, and to Patrick, like the stables, I mean, obviously adding liquidity, adding to the prize pools, adding players, right? That is good for poker in a vacuum. But when you get into situations that happen just so frequently, like someone's in bad makeup, or there's there's problems with people taking deals that they don't know about, right? We heard a lot of that in some of the other controversies recently, like people like being staked by all sorts of people. They didn't know they're being one backer didn't know the other person was backing him, right? Like the more complex and shady situations that these players and these stables are in, the more likelihood there is for dishonest actions, right? Problems like
Exactly.
problems
Right.
that they say like ghosting, which is almost impossible to detect, and all the other problems that come in, and the arguments like, well, if you catch them cheating, just ban them. It's like, well, that's great, but you can't catch all the forms of cheating, and like when there's that much money involved and that many people involved, it's so hard to believe that there's no cheating whatsoever going on within that stable or whatever. And like I said, I
Right.
don't play online, but like I'm just like, maybe I'm old fashioned, but it just feels like I don't I don't think, I'm not someone who thinks that it's like bad or like dishonorable to be staked. I just think that the whole thing's unnecessary. It's like, oh, but then they wouldn't be able to play these Triton high rollers. Well, then don't play Triton high rollers. Come down and play the
Right.
$500
Exactly.
tournaments with us. Play the 1Ks with us.
Right.
If like Jesse was killing the 10Ks and unders before he like spiked it and started playing these other things. Like, just come and slum it in the 5Ks. Why do we have to have $200,000 buy-in tournaments for you to go and play these billionaires, right? Like, why is that necessary so the other billionaires can back you and you can play these other billionaires? Like, we don't need that. Let's just have competition, right? I don't know. I just wish we could get sponsorships and turn the league. I just wish poker could. I wish poker could be as popular without that gambling aspect as tennis and golf and whatnot, because they get all their money
Right.
from sponsors, right? Like they
Right.
get all their money from sponsors. They get all their money from not from the entry prize pool, right? If I go and play,
Right.
I think I said this in one of our early podcasts. If I go play a golf tournament, I have to pay an entry fee, right? But they have prizes, and it's not gambling, so why is that legal, right? So that prize money must have come from somewhere, probably a sponsor. And if it didn't, and it came from the
Yeah.
entry fee, well, then that should be gambling. Those people shouldn't be allowed to do that. Not unless poker tournaments
But
are
we
legal in their state.
we just got to get poker big enough. And again, I feel like there's so many dormant players in Los Angeles that I feel like we can get it big enough, get humongous prize pools back, get people traveling here as a poker destination again. If we get it to the scale of like, even back what we had in 2019, I feel like, sponsorships could be there, right, for us, right?
Yeah, I think the other thing that stands in America's way is just, if it doesn't or isn't federally acceptable or legal, it's
That's true.
harder for big corporations to sponsor you, and because they can't run a
That's true.
national ad for a poker player, right?
Yeah.
So
You know what though? I mean, when you kind of look at the World Series, right? So before it was on ESPN, but at the World Series, you got Jack's Links, you got Microsoft.com, right?
Right.
My own company, right? Like, there's sponsorships all over the place. So there's definitely many people willing to sponsor poker tournaments.
Yeah.
And there's still an educational aspect of it where people need to understand that poker is much closer to chess than it is to blackjack, right?
Yeah.
It is 100% a game of skill, but yeah.
Yep, 100%. And that's just the most frustrating thing. And I mean, Marley makes jokes about it still, and she makes it's the same thing. Oh, you play poker, so do you count cards, etc., etc., right? And even counting cards is still not as gambly as, yeah. We
Right.
all know, all of us here watching and on the pod, we all know. Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, you know what? I think it's time for the roundup. All right, so what is going on this weekend? Well, the big thing, right, is the final week of the series here at the bike, the winning on the green. And this is the day twos for the Mini Mega Millions, followed by, the regular day 3, 4, or whatever it takes. So this weekend, there are, as we said, there's still day ones all the way through Friday, but then Saturday and Sunday is the direct. Oh, wait, sorry. It looks like they actually have day ones on Saturday also. So there's an 11 to 4 p.m. day one on Saturday. So there's still that. But then on Saturday and Sunday are the day twos. And the day twos are, as you know, the direct buys. That direct buy, I believe, is 1,400. I will be direct buying in on, or is it 1,600 this time? Actually, I think it's 16.
I thought it was 16.
Yeah, it's 1,600 for the direct buy.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I will be direct buying on Saturday, hopefully not Sunday. And that gets you the typical kind of 66 bigs-ish, right? So I'll be buying in then.
Yep.
I think Derek's going to take a couple more shots at the day ones, but I will be spending my Friday most likely grinding over at Commerce, trying to get some hours. I think I'm still hopeful that I can do it. We'll see. I think I'm gonna get in. Once you get in, you can rebuy, so it's fine.
Right.
You rebuy
Yeah,
for a
I
small
just
amount.
think it up like the day ones. Obviously, we've talked to death about the quantums, but definitely playing the day ones is your way of getting over 200K in chips, right? So you want to try to get into day two with 500, 600K because that is so much value to have a big stack like that on a day two of that type of a field. I'm always willing to fire a couple of bullets at the day ones. I actually already fired one bullet at the day one last weekend, and it was like literally, I told Ty this, the very first poker session I've had in about a month and a half that kind of felt normal. There were still two like crazy ass hands that went down, but overall, it was just like a couple of hours of just like feeling fair, right? It just felt fair. Even like the mystery bound, I ended up like bombing into Beth when she had flopped a nut flush. There were just so many of like those type of hands, right? And then like Susan had like called my three bet with king six and flop trip sixes. probably my fault for always like three betting so light, but and she was suited. So, but anyways, it just like hands like that. That just
that's the new GTO aces, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just like kind of like the last month and a half. It's just been keeping running into like these humongous hands and all these crazy spots, and it just feels like complete landmines. So it was just nice to have like just one session. I also had Ryan Salunga on my left like the entire day, and it just still felt like a normal tournament. So hopefully this is it. We turned things around just in time for the World Series.
Man, so now we can't joke that you don't know who Ryan Slunga is and that he's not a real person anymore. He's spent a whole day sitting next to him.
He was actually like him and I were breaking down that one of the crazy hands that went down where I ended up folding like top pair against his other players, like just ridiculous jam. Anyways, but it was a good session.
Yep. Now I only fired one bike tournament last weekend. It was the one of the day ones for the mystery bounty. I was 3 away from bagging. I had 22 big blinds or so. I had 230K when under the gun jammed 250K, and I looked down at queens and I lost the flip, tournament over. So that was the only event I played there.
It's so ridiculous, right? Like it's like you're running good, you're playing good, you amass this huge stack, and then bam, it's just like kind of gone in a couple of hands. That's what tournament poker is.
Just won that flip, I come into day two with close to 500K, but whatever. Yeah. I don't like bounties anyways. Congratulations, Beth.
Good job, Beth.
All right. So the other events going on this weekend, the Hollywood Park has a very nice one coming on Sunday. Their Sunday special on the 14th is a 75K guarantee. So if I bag up on Saturday and I do not need to go play the Mini Mega again on Sunday, I will be heading over to Hollywood Park to play this. And as I told Derek, once I bust this, I'll go over and get a couple more hours at Commerce because
Ty is a grinder, man. You're a grinder.
Because I haven't had enough. Other tournaments, though, if you're not going to play the Mini Mega Millions, the Hollywood Park has a 25K guarantee on Friday. That's a bounty, if you like those bounties. And then they're pretty much their normal kind of daily schedules around that. Now, Thursday, there's no tournament scheduled for 411 for tomorrow. So if you usually play tournaments at Hollywood Park, tomorrow there are none. And now next week, actually this doesn't start till next Sunday or next Wednesday, but so this weekend the Gardens just has its regular dailies, which will probably be quite huge. They might be tiny, not tiny, a little bit smaller, definitely than last week, because all the people who bagged up for the day 2s of the Mini Mega, they won't be there on one of those days, but they should still be pretty decent because people who want to buy straight in to the for the 1600 aren't necessarily the $250 daily players, so they should still be good down at the Gardens. But next Wednesday starts their SoCal Spring Special, and this is what we'll be talking about all next week.
Exciting. Yeah.
So next Wednesday it kicks off with a 50K guarantee bounty event, and then we'll come back to the schedule later, but the two big events in this are the following week. The 1100 they're going to be doing on the weekend of the 20th, and then the 1100 they're going to be doing the weekend of May 4th. So keep an eye out, keep your eyes peeled for that guy. We are very excited. And then, of course, this weekend Commerce has its regular dailies happening. Get over there, support those. I actually, the first time I've gone to Commerce in a long time and didn't jump into the daily, it was late reg was still open when I went to play some hours the other day. Felt a little bad walking past the tournament, saying hi and not entering. And then Lucky Lady also has its regular dailies going on as well. And I believe Lucky Lady is going to have a mini series happening during the World Series, maybe in the middle of June, and that schedule should be coming out pretty soon as well.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to just get out of this crazy run bad, just in time to ship the mini, because that'll be what, like 200K or something for first, probably, and it'll just give me the right bankroll for, like, the circuit event, this Garden Series, the the series in the summer in Vegas. So just perfect timing. Perfect timing.
We still have to talk about our ring bet.
Oh yeah. We're definitely gonna come with the ring bet. So for people who missed it, I thought it was I thought it was supposed to be 100 votes, but maybe it was supposed to be 100 likes. But regardless, there was a poll. Yeah, there was a poll that was put up in chat, and if we got to either 100 votes or 100 likes, then me and Ty had to make a prop bet for the World Series of Poker Circuit. So we'll definitely let you know what we come up with, and we would love to have you guys kind of bet on our bet on your sides, right?
Yeah, and we'll put up a thread on our Twitter, so make sure you're following us and check that out to collect some suggestions as well. We're still trying to think of what an appropriate kind of prop bet would be.
Yeah, and Frank, I'm not going to entertain no headphone bet.
Yeah, and I'm not going to act like Phil Hellmuth, so I'm very anti-Hellmuth in general. So let's keep thinking, guys, that we can be creative. All right. Well, that is all we have for you this week. It's been an exciting week for us, man. We're tired, and we got to rest up for these big events coming up. I'm so excited. We got a 1K every other week for months. It's amazing. And then the World Series starts. Let's go.
Yeah, I want everyone, I hope that you're feeling the energy that we're feeling, especially at the Commerce, especially at the World Series. So it's not just this event, but it really does feel like all the concerns that we've had about poker in LA, not like it's fixed, but it seems like we're pointing in the right direction and there's some momentum going this way. So definitely go out and support the events that you like, right? Support the events and the places that seem like they're trying to take care of us and they're on the same page as us, because it's your support that when you get out there, it's how we keep growing the game, right? So yeah, I feel like we're all kind of sensing the excitement here. So yeah,
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, guys, thanks for joining us. And until next week, we will see you at the tables.